WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
Paddle along with us as we make our way down the beautiful and historic North Branch of the Susquehanna River. It's 2 days of education and fun on the water.
Soar with the Eagles. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Welcome everybody to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Ken Hunter. I'm here with Dawn Jacobs. And Jake, we're on the banks of the beautiful North Branch of the Susquehanna River here in Bradford County, and we're surrounded by all these colorful canoes and kayaks. What is this all about?
This is a celebration of a sort. What is the North Branch? Why is it the feature section of the river for this year in the state of Pennsylvania? That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, we've collected some very interesting and interested people, and they're ready to join us on the Susquehanna River here. Today's trip is going to take us from the banks here, just across the river from Wyalusing, to the town of Laceyville. Dave and Melody Buck run Endless Mountain Outfitters, and they tell me they're happy with the increased interest in the river, especially the area where they live.
This is the River of the Year poster, which we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow when DCNR folks come in. But this particular painting is done by Brian Keeler, a Wyalusing artist. And if you look right over the poster, it's the same scenery right on down through. So he painted it right from here, yeah. So it's the view of the river from what I call my point.
So you must be pretty proud. I know that you're really involved in all the groups and organizations to keep this river alive. How has it changed since the last time we've been out? There's some progress in getting more recognition for this?
Oh, really? Yeah, we've got a water trail system that we're putting together now, and we're working on that, so it'll be easier. We'll have guide maps and that sort of thing, and a lot of history information on the maps, so people can come up here and they'll know where they're going. They'll know where the access points, and it'll be a lot better paddle for everybody.
After a quick paddling lesson from Dave, it's time to start our journey.
Bring your hands a little closer. What you're going to do is it's this way. It's a twist of the wrist.
I don't
just
have to
like
grip
that.
it very hard.
No, not at all. And then we're going to do this. That is correct. Perfect. Go on your way. I want you to paddle around a little bit before I dump you out. It's about an 8-mile paddle. But we will be going through some beautiful scenery. That's the reason why we decided to take that particular trip today. And the Sojourn is going to be coming through here in the end of June, so we wanted to make sure that we could take in some of the scenery to show the public what's here. The water right now, I always check the gauge in Towanda, is about 3 feet, and it's a good level. We won't have to paddle as much. We have the wind at our back, so we're going to have a good paddle today. I've also seen the river come up 10 feet overnight when you get a good rain, so it's something that's always good to check the gauges before one goes out. Well, I'd hope to see, a lot of birds flying around. It's in early spring, so we have a lot of the birds that are in their nestings. You can hear the orioles in the background. Hopefully we'll see an eagle, red-tailed hawks, lots of great blue herons, and maybe some green herons also. We're going to go around the small islands because it's more fun because the river's at a good height. And if you want to see wildlife, you sneak around the islands. Because they're not expecting us. Drip rings are to keep the water from dripping in.
All right.
If you notice when you hold the paddle up, the water just drips right off.
Go past the drip ring.
Right. You don't need to go actually past the top of the paddle.
That's the biggest.
Not care about it is to wear shorts.
I was worried about my donuts getting wet that I have.
And you're worried about looking like you got wet in your pants.
Oh, do you know what 2 dozen wet donuts look like?
I don't know, but
I can't believe you're afraid to show us your legs. That's what it all boils down
I don't
to.
have very pretty legs.
I can't believe he's not sharing the donuts.
That's right.
I only brought an emergency supply.
Let's get him, guys.
It's only an emergency supply.
You see that dam? Is that what you're looking at? Okay, that's from the canal, which was built between 1830s, 1850s, which brought a lot of Irish people up into this area, but that's all hand-laid stone. It goes for miles up here along the river. The canal bed was right up on top of that, and there was a pretty serious flood back in the 1850s or 60s that washed a lot of it out, which basically stopped the canal. Then they had steam trains, so they put the trains right on top of the canal beds.
We stopped at one of the many tributaries on the river to talk with Brooke Lanker. He's a director for the Alliance of the Chesapeake Bay. He says the Susquehanna River plays a major role.
The Susquehanna River is the largest tributary to the Chesapeake, provides 50% of all the fresh water that goes into the bay. And so what happens on the Susquehanna has a huge impact on that estuary. There's several problems that the Susquehanna contributes to when it comes to the Chesapeake. The two biggest are nutrients and sediments. So silt washing off the land, and nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus coming off the land. Everybody's working together to develop tributary strategies, and these are basically cleanup plans that are focused on the nutrients and the sediments.
Shane Kleiner is also paddling with us today. He is the manager of the Wyoming County Conservation District. Their goal is to protect the quality of the water.
It's my job and the people that work with me to make sure that we keep that river as clean as possible and try to clean it up. One of the things we're looking at here is what is the impacts of agriculture and our everyday lives on what we do here in Pennsylvania. That's why the Susquehanna Sojourn, it was originally created, is because they wanted to bring attention to the river and the resources we have here. One of the things that conservation does, and each county in Pennsylvania except for Philadelphia has a conservation district that deals with erosion sediment control and agriculture and its impacts. You got two things occurring here on this field. One of them is application fertilizers, herbicides, those types of things, as well as the soils that would be washed off during a rainstorm. What's our job is trying to keep those soils and those nutrients at bay where they're supposed to be so they can do the best for the farmer.
The North Branch is a beautiful section of the river. The whole river is beautiful, but we have the mountains here. We have not a lot of development on this stretch of river, and that makes it wonderful from a recreational standpoint. So what's going through my head is that I hope the counties up here and all the local municipalities can really cherish what they have and try to protect it. I'm hoping that what we see today will be like this for years to come.
Well, here we are at our destination at Laceyville. We just arrived. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but we just had a thunderstorm hit us, chased us. Another one was already through us. Beautiful right now, Jake, but what a gorgeous stretch of river. My first time ever on this stretch of the river. I love it.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
I'm coming back.
And I'll tell you, Dave Buck from Endless Mountain Outfitters certainly knows his stuff on this river. Now, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to try another section of the river. We're going to kayak from Falls to West Pittston, so stick around.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. As you can see, we're standing again on the north branch of the Susquehanna River, the banks here in Falls, Pennsylvania. Yesterday we did 6-8 miles. Today we're going to do another 10, 12, I don't know, something like that. Right. Gorgeous day today.
It is beautiful.
Started that way yesterday, but we got caught in some nasty storms that hopefully that won't happen today.
Hopefully it won't, but it is a gorgeous day to celebrate the Susquehanna River and especially the North Branch. As you can see behind us, kayaks, canoes getting ready for this journey. We're going to end up in West Pittston in several hours. Again, we'd like to thank David Buck from Endless Mountain Outfitters for supplying the kayaks for today's trip. We've got a historian with us. We've got some people from DCNR and the Environmental Council. Let's head out.
Do 2 whistles.
After a quick safety instruction from Dave Buck, it's time for a final equipment check.
Has a mini skirt if anybody would like to cover their legs, or if it rains, it'll fit the pungos.
No, but can you cover Ken's right now?
Is it too late? Is it too late?
Never too late.
Look at those.
there is...
I'm sorry I made fun of you yesterday. Put your pants back
Put my
on.
pants back on. Well, after seeing yours yesterday, I didn't see any harm in exposing mine.
Our guide for today's adventure is certainly no stranger to Wyoming County or the Susquehanna River. Richard Fitzsimmons is a one-time Wyoming County Commissioner with family ties to the Falls area.
Rather picturesque area on the eastern shore, uninhabited from here until you get almost to Pittston City. The right-hand side runs through Falls and Harding, a little more population. The river is about 15 feet deep here in Falls right now in the middle. There are 2 areas of riffles, but nothing that's threatening, so you won't feel endangered, and relatively pristine. Here's a neat little viaduct, or creek coming in there, the culvert. That was built in 1888, extended at that time in 1888 for railroad travel. Before that, of course, it was the North Branch Canal. There goes a great blue heron. Oh yes, they do a lot of fishing. And of course, they just laid the tracks on top of the what was the canal. I suspect there's a lot of good coal fill in that, underneath those tracks. This is the New Falls Bridge, right. I suppose 5 or 6 years old. First one was constructed between 1919 and 1921. We have pictures of it half built. And it was after that time, shortly thereafter, that the Falls Ferry went out of business, obviously. It used to leave from the train station and come over to what was then called the Regal Hotel on the west shore, east to west. We're at Buttermilk Creek in Falls, Pennsylvania. This is the Falls Township side of the river on the east shore, the confluence with the Susquehanna. And this railroad bridge was built in the late 1880s, and this was the site of one of the 5 aqueducts on the North Branch Canal. You know, 130 years old and in perfect shape, and, you know, been battered by water and ice and frost for years.
Marion Robocek is with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR. She explains what makes the North Branch of the Susquehanna River so special this year.
It was recognized as Pennsylvania's Feature River of the Year for 2004.
What does that mean, Feature River of the Year?
It recognizes a lot of the community activities that have been occurring along the river. People are really coming back to the river and recognizing its value. One of the things that's happened recently is the Pennsylvania Environmental Council has worked with the local communities to develop a local vision for what this river is and what it can be in the future, to really appreciate its values, to recognize the recreational opportunities that it offers. And, you know, the Sojourn will come down the river and try to pull together the municipal officials to come to the river and to recognize how important it is to their communities. Whenever we do a Sojourn, we do a number of educational programs. We involve all the participants so that they can really learn what the issues are along the river, what the benefits are along the river, and to utilize them appropriately.
Ellen Ferretti is also along for the ride down the river. She works for the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, and they hope the word spreads.
What we hope is that the rest of Pennsylvania finds out about the North Branch and how beautiful it is. And obviously there's a difference between the northern areas in Wyoming County and then when you get into Luzerne County, and some people fear the area in Luzerne County. It's unfounded. I mean, I'm not going to lie, there are issues there, but the water there is gorgeous, the landscape is gorgeous, and we really should appreciate this precious resource we have. So the more and more people that get to know about it, the more and more we'll use it, and the more and more we'll protect it. That's what we hope.
Bald eagle, where?
There it is. A mature one, too. Yeah.
Oh yes, look at the bald eagle.
I was gonna sit.
It's a mature one, too.
Yeah, the white tail.
Yeah.
He's gonna land right there, Brian.
I can't come back and fly over it.
We're seeing much more of an environmental concern. We're seeing right across the board, all age groups are taking more. And I firmly believe you have to know something to want to care for it. And the people that get down to the river, see the river, become more aware of the river, want to protect it. They want to see it get healthy again. They want to see something that maybe they've never known all their life, but they know it can exist.
That's Campbell's Ledge, otherwise known as Dial Rock as well, about 860 feet above the river. And
How did it get its name? There's a bazillion stories. Which one do you know?
well, the story I know is that a white man on horseback was being chased by Indians on horseback. and they were galloping along. When the horse got to the edge of the cliff, he halted and he wouldn't go any further. And the white man wanted to get away, so he circled the horse around and took his shirt off and put it over the horse's head. And they started to charge the cliff again. And when he got up to the cliff, of course, the horse was blinded, didn't know where he was, jumped off the cliff, and the horse was killed, and the white man ran to the river and swam away from the Indians. That's my story.
And so it goes.
And so it goes, right.
It is the most marvelous natural resource we have in northeastern Pennsylvania. It is unique. There's only one Susquehanna River. We have lots of mountains, we have lots of creeks, we have lots of beautiful vistas. The river is unique, and it's something that should be treasured and valued and respected and used in a positive way.
The first is the Fort Jenkins, and the second is the Water Street. End of a beautiful run.
Well, it's just about 5 hours, 4.5
Yeah.
hours later. What a great trip. Wasn't that incredible?
It was a beautiful day, Jake. I mean, the sun was out. It was temperature perfect. Great day.
And I saw things that I saw as a kid, but from a different perspective, and it was just an incredible little ride.
How about that mature bald eagle?
The mature bald
Yeah.
eagle. Just a great
Yeah.
trip. And of course, we have to thank Dave Buck from Endless Mountain Outfitters and Rich Fitzsimmons, our guide for the day, the people from DCNR. I can't say enough about what that trip was here along the Susquehanna River.
Great day, and I hope this draws attention to the river and what a great jewel we have right here in our backyard.
We certainly do.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the sojourn, and we're going to have people and places.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. On a half hour, we've sort of dedicated to the north branch of the Susquehanna River, although we can't give up one of our favorite selections of Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
And that's people and places, and today would have certainly been a great opportunity for picture taking
Yes,
with all the
it
stuff we
was.
saw. Well, let's see some of the pictures you folks have taken.
We'll open this week's edition of Pennsylvania People and Places at a colder time with a successful ice fisherman. Brian Parkhurst of Montrose caught this pickerel while fishing on frozen Mitchell's Pond in February. Brian's pickerel weighed 5 3/4 pounds and measured in at 28 inches. In our next photo, we see 7-year-old Joseph Wojcik III of Dallas and a 23-inch rainbow trout he caught at his uncle's pond on the first day of the trout season. Joseph was fishing with his parents, his sister Caitlin, and several other family members. Brothers Tyler and Brian Vanderpool of Monroeton are pictured here with the stringer of catfish they caught on the Susquehanna River in April. The pair were fishing with their dad, and they just can't wait to go again. We don't blame you. Now check out this dandy. Brad Reed of Pine Grove caught this 22.5-inch rainbow trout this year during the trout season. Brad was fishing on Tulpahawken Creek with a baby crawler. This monster weighed 3.5 pounds. Let's switch gears and look at some deer photos. Thomas Laudenslager of Emmaus took this 8-point buck during the archery season. He was hunting in Sullivan County. Congratulations, Thomas. Amy Franchak of German harvested this 5-point buck on the opening day of this year's deer season. Amy's buck weighed 145 pounds and was taken on Archibald Mountain in Lackawanna County. And with this lucky hunter, we'll wrap up this week's look at Pennsylvania People and Places.
Well, welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, Jake, we're here with a very special guest. She joined us over the last couple of days here on our trip down the river. She's with the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay.
Yep.
Tell us who this is.
Dana Loma. And Dana, you did more than join us. You sort of organized this little mini sojourn, if you will, but you're really in charge of organizing the sojourn that's happening at the end of the month. Tell us the dates. Tell us a little bit about the thing you've been working on now.
Okay. Well, we're coming to our conclusion of planning, which is really great for me. We have only 3 weeks to go. On June 23rd, we'll kick off in Sayre, and we will paddle 91 miles to Pittston, West Pittston. We're stopping in some great towns like Tunkhannock, Wyalusing. We're going to be in Mashopin, so we're going to be in towns all along the North Branch.
Now, when you talk about being in towns, your group of people are actually going to stop and stay overnight, right? You have evening programs, things going on for them?
Yes, we actually break all sorts of rules. Towns invite us to come to their township parks where most people normally cannot camp, but because of the special nature of our program, the educational outreach, and the partnerships that we form with the agencies along the river and with the townships themselves, we are permitted to stay at the public camps. We'll be having programs every evening at 7 o'clock at each of our stops, and the public's invited to come out, hear local agencies talk about what they're doing for river conservation. There'll be musical programs, there'll be folk singers, there'll be poetry, all sorts of exciting things going on.
Now, Dana, are you doing the whole 91 miles?
I do the whole 91 miles.
Wow, that's pretty good, Jake.
You're going to have big arms by the time that's through. I want to thank you for getting us involved with this, and certainly if you want to get involved, there's easy ways, or even to sign up for next year if it's too late at this point. Tell people how they can get involved or find out more about the sojourn that's taking place.
Okay, well, you can log on to our webpage, which is Alliance Chess Bay, Alliance Chess, C-H-E-S, Bay, B-A-Y.org. And on our webpage, it gives you all the information you need to know about our Sojourn program. You can also call the office.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us along and organizing this whole kit and caboodle here.
Yes, glad to have you with us. That was a great couple of days. I loved it, Jake. Saw things I never saw before.
Yep, and thank you again. Dana,
Thank you.
good luck with your sojourn. Me too. And please take advantage of the North Branch of the Susquehanna River. For Ken Hunter and Dana and myself and the entire team, we of course want to thank Endless Mountain Outfitters for getting involved with us on this sojourn for 2 days. And that's it for Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Enjoy the great outdoors.
So long now.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.